Hey guys, Mark here, and today I'm going to be showing you how I built a decent gaming PC for $200. Let's jump in. Alright, so in order to do this for such a low price, we're going to need to hit up our local used buy and sell site like Kijiji or Craigslist. The first thing I like to do is look for what I call a base. Generally, these are older PCs that have been stripped and are missing components. Lots of businesses will usually get rid of older computers in this way when they get new ones. And they tend to be very cheap. Luckily, I just found one that looks very promising, so let's go pick it up. Got him. All right, so we got our base. It's the Dell Optiplex 990MT. If this thing works, which I'm really hoping it will, we just got a CPU, CPU fan, a motherboard, a case, a power supply, all for 50 Canadian dollars, which is awesome, if it works. So we have our base. The 990 comes with a quad-core i5-2500, which should be plenty for what we need it for. What it doesn't come with is RAM, a hard drive or SSD, and a power supply that's sufficient for what we need. The one that comes with the 990 is a crappy old 265 watt generic PSU, so we won't be able to run any decent graphics cards. Therefore, we have to find a new one, or rather a new old one. All right, so I just lined up all of our stuff on Kijiji, but before I go grab it, just a quick note. If you're doing this yourself, if you're buying from Kijiji or Craigslist, used computer parts and that sort of thing, always ask for a better price. And the reason is a lot of people will actually set higher prices with the expectation that you're going to haggle with them. So do yourself a favor and just try and get that price down a little bit. That said, let's go grab our stuff and I'll see you back at the house. All right, so for our parts, first up we've got a 650 watt NZXT Hale 82 power supply. It's non-modular and it was probably pretty darn cheap to buy new, but I got it even cheaper at just 20 Canadian dollars. Next is our DDR3 1600. I got two 4GB sticks for just 50 bucks. After that, I went out and spent a little more than I should have on this Seagate 256GB SSD. I couldn't find one used on Kijiji, so I went and got the cheapest one on sale at Best Buy for $70. You could easily reduce your price here quite a bit and throw in a cheap $20 hard drive. It's not going to affect your gaming performance, save for a bit of load time, but it will slow down everything else considerably, so keep that in mind. Finally, the most important part is our Zotac 750 Ti that I got for $100. This is what's going to make gaming possible. Fortunately, this 750 Ti is quite small, so I'll be able to fit it into the 990 case without modifying the hard drive caddy. All of that together with the base comes to a total of 290 Canadian dollars, or with the current exchange rate, 222 US dollars. Not bad. Now that we have everything, it's time to put it all together, but before we do that, we need to pull the base apart and make sure that everything looks okay, and to give it some much needed loving. The first thing I'm doing is hitting it with a bit of compressed air to blow a lot of the old dust out of here. While I'm at it, I'm also removing the power supply and repasting the CPU. The old CPU paste probably hasn't seen the light of day since the computer was built, so I'm hitting that with a little isopropyl alcohol to clean off the old gunk, then applying a new bit of thermal paste. After that, the CPU cooler gets put back on and we start putting in our new old components. First, the 650 watt power supply. For now, I'll just tuck all the extra cabling into the old disk bay and then properly manage the cables later. Then comes our glorious 750 Ti, which actually doesn't even need extra power from the PSU with a 6-pin connector. Just gets slotted in and it's good to go. The DDR3 sticks went in next, although they really should have been put in first, and then the SSD, which had to get zip tied in. Once I figure out if the whole system works or not, I'll do some proper cable management and mounting, but for now, this'll do. After I made sure everything was connected, it was time for the moment of truth. Will it post? Yeah, it will, with no problems at all. I installed Windows 10 and all the drivers, and then it was time for some much needed game testing. I'll be running the games on my budget LG monitor that's running at 1080p and 75 Hz, so we should see frame rates up to 75 frames per second if the 750 Ti can handle it. And sure enough, on medium to high settings in our first game, Overwatch, we were hitting between 60 and 75 frames no problem, with about an average of 70. I was recording with Shadow Play, which was eating about 2 to 3 frames per second, so without this recording, the frame rate goes even higher. Then I tried everyone's favorite game of late, Fortnite. Here I had a little more trouble hitting 60 and 75 frames per second. In order to do it, I had to turn most settings down to medium or low and turn the shadows off. After that though, we were hitting a smooth 75 frames per second with the lows in the mid 60s, no problem. And the game still looks pretty good too. Next, I tried the unoptimized pile of trash that is PUBG. I say pile of trash even though I play this game more than most others, but anyway, this is the game that the 750 Ti really struggled with. I wasn't able to hit that 60 frames per second until I lowered all of the graphical settings to low and then changed the screen resolution to 1600 by 900. Gross. You can get by with medium settings at 1080p, but you'll only be hitting around 30 to 40 FPS. Finally, I threw Dirt Rally in there for good measure. Excuse my driving because my Logitech G25 wheel was set up on my main computer and I had to use a keyboard. But ignoring that, we were getting very decent frame rates above 60 FPS on medium to high settings, which I was very pleasantly surprised with. This was by far the easiest build I have ever done. It felt like I didn't really have to do any work. The motherboard and CPU were already built into the case, so I didn't have to fiddle with any power switch connectors or CPU fan headers or anything like that. I just threw in a new PSU, GPU, and SSD, and it was good to go. And clearly it works very well for a $200 PC that I bought all the parts for and built in less than 4 hours. So yeah, that was fun. Hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already to support my channel. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.